Chapter 31. Now the Philistines fought against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines, and fell down slain in Mount Gilboa. And the Philistines followed hard upon Saul and upon his sons, and the Philistines slew Jonathan, and Abinadab, and Melchishua, Saul's sons. And the battle went sore against Saul, and the archers hit him, and he was sore wounded of the archers. Then said Saul unto his armor-bearer, Draw thy sword, and thrust me through therewith, lest these uncircumcised come and thrust me through and abuse me. But his armor-bearer would not, for he was sore afraid. Therefore Saul took a sword, and fell upon it. And when his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise upon his sword, and died with him. So Saul died, and his 3 sons, and his armor-bearer, and all his men that same day together. And when the men of Israel that were on the other side of the valley, and they that were on the other side Jordan, saw that the men of Israel fled, and that Saul and his sons were dead, they forsook the cities and fled, and the Philistines came and dwelt in them. And it came to pass on the morrow, when the Philistines came to strip the slain, that they found Saul and his 3 sons fallen in Mount Gilboa. And they cut off his head, and stripped off his armor, and sent into the land of the Philistines round about to publish it in the house of their idols and among the people. And they put his armor in the house of Ashtaroth, and they fastened his body to the wall of Bethshan. And when the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead heard of that which the Philistines had done to Saul, all the valiant men arose, and went all night, and took the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons from the wall of Bethshan, and came to Jabesh, and burnt them there. And they took their bones, and buried them under a tree at Jabesh, and fasted 7 days. We see here the death of Saul. His armor-bearer was so terrified to kill him that Saul had to hold his sword and fall on it in order to kill himself, so that he would not be captured by the Philistines and tortured, or have his body mutilated while he was still alive, which was something they did. And the armor-bearer did the same, killed himself. And we find that the children of Israel ran from the Philistines, deserted the cities. The Philistines moved into the cities, lock, stock, and barrel, and took them over. And the next day they went out to do something that you might not have thought of. They went out to strip the dead. Clothing was expensive in those days, extremely expensive. There was no such thing as on sale. And they would go and they would strip clothing off of the dead, wash it off, try and get the blood off. If it didn't come off, well, that was too bad, but the clothes were still valuable. And they would try and get shoes and footwear and any of the implements of war, shields, whatever, that these people had, any jewels that they might be wearing. And in the process, they found Saul and his armor-bearer. And they cut off his head, took his armor, sent the armor to the temple of Ashtaroth. Ashtaroth was their female goddess of fertility, whose principal part of their worship was orgies. And all kinds of moral corruption and degradation was part of it. And they took that as basically, well, we have the king of the Jews, or the Hebrews here, and therefore we have conquered all of these people, and our God is more powerful than their God. Well, they were more powerful than Saul was, but not when Saul was righteous. Only when Saul had been rejected because he was not righteous. Now, we're going on to King David next time. And we'll find that for all the great things David had, David also had some challenges. And we'll see exactly what those are.